Welcome to Voices of Atlanta, where I try to capture the stories of the people I meet on the streets of Atlanta by asking them some of life's smaller questions. In this conversation, I talk to Kate about finding balances in mindful movement between the joy of helping others and the fear of criticism and within yourself. This conversation reminds me of a quote from Rumi, a Persian poet and Sufi mystic, who say that life is a balance between holding on and letting go. What brought you to Atlanta?
I was born here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. How was it like growing up in Atlanta? What's your favorite childhood memory?
Well, I have a big family, so I spent a lot of time playing outdoors with cousins. I love how green this part of the country is, and how many trees and hills. And I think just being outside and enjoying nature is probably my favorite part.
What's the one thing that you were very afraid of doing, but you did it anyway?
I don't tend to do things that I'm really afraid of doing. Okay, so I started teaching fitness classes and getting up in front of a crowd.
Really?
Yeah, I was terrified of doing that. Like in school, when I had to do that, I would have panic attacks and I would go red and I would cry. Just tears would be running down my eyes and I would speak really quietly and it was just terrifying. Yeah. But then I started teaching fitness classes.
Oh, wow.
And it was a little scary at first, but once I got comfortable with the material, it was...
I guess it's in a part of public speaking that really scare you?
Okay, yes, absolutely.
I guess I do hear saying that public speaking, most people fear public speaking more than death. Right?
Wow, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
So how did you get the courage to do it? What pushed you toward that direction?
Well, my grandmothers, who I was really close to, after they passed away, I was in the pool one day and I was doing just some movements in the pool, just natural flowing. And I thought, wow, I wish they had done this stuff. That would have been really good for them. Wow. And I thought, I've always been a swimmer. I love the water. Yeah. Maybe I could do classes like that and help people like my grandparents. And I thought of my parents. Yeah. So maybe just inspiring loved ones to get active and to move.
Oh. So is it more targeted older population or everybody?
Yeah, it's kind of targeted to everybody, but the specific classes that I teach are about mindful movement. Oh. And one of the first classes that I was given, it was a class with a lot of people who had multiple sclerosis, and there were some blind people in the class, so I had to really think about... What was the question? I'm sorry, I don't want to get off too much.
Oh, no worry. You can go anywhere you want.
Population, right?
Yeah. What was your class about? Is it for people, right?
Yeah, it started out, the very first class I taught was more of a choreographed dance class for aerobics, so anybody who wanted aerobic exercise in the setting of the pool. And that does happen to be a lot of people who are seniors because of balance issues. They can exercise more freely in the pool. Yeah. But there were a lot of different age groups in there. And then shortly after I started teaching, I was offered to teach a multiple sclerosis class, which I knew nothing about. So I did a little bit of research. And I went to class with my choreography and they were like, we can't do that. This is what we need. And I just started, as a teacher, I just feel like even though I'm the instructor, I'm the one who listens and learns from them. So I just offer them safe ways to do what I'm hearing that they need.
Yeah, awesome. I think one thing that captured me from what you say was the mindful movement stuff. Yeah. Because I practice martial arts myself, and the one thing I like about it, I always treat it as most meditation, emotion in a way. So yeah. So how did you come to that? I guess, I don't know, more like a recognition, realization that movement can be very mindful as well.
Right. Yeah, I like that composition with mindful and movement together. Yeah. One of the first populations that I taught was also a small group of visually impaired women. And I had to really, I can't just show them. A lot of exercise is like watching other people and picking up what they're doing. And I had to give them really thoughtful, mindful cues on how to move. And I had taken a decent amount of yoga for like maybe 10 years, just off and on. So I had that in the back of my mind. But having to relay that information and think about the safest way. I didn't want to waste anybody's time, or I saw like my loved ones as they got old have injuries that were avoidable. So I just thought this would really make sense and be worth their time if they were doing it in the safest way.
So right now it's COVID time, right? So how do you do your class now?
Well, actually, I haven't been teaching since COVID started.
So have you thought about doing it online, virtual in a way? Like, I feel like your knowledge is very valuable to all people. Like even my parents too, right? I can learn that and then learn how to teach exercise to older people, like my parents, right? Have you thought about doing that online, virtually, you too?
I have, and I appreciate you saying that. Like, I kind of think that the information is useful and really important, so I think that would be really good. But it goes back to my fear of public speaking. Even though I can get up in front of a group, I can see their reaction, and I can feel the energy. And I've had a couple of critics that wanted something different than what I was giving, but I think I'd be really scared to do it online. Yeah, every time I've considered it, I'm like, oh, it's too much anxiety. But maybe having this conversation will definitely make me rethink it and give me some courage to maybe go for it.
I think definitely you're gonna help a lot of people, right? So it doesn't really matter that the field that doesn't disagree with. You're always gonna have critics, right? But so definitely should try.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So the last question about fitness, like, what would you recommend like older people to?
I recommend to move because it's so important for your immune system to get that circulation, for your respiratory system and circulatory system, and to not lose their range of motion. So one of the things I talk about in my classes, and what I do personally, is think about each of my joints and the range of motion that my body allows today, like in this moment, because some days my range of motion is, warmed up and a little more flexible, and sometimes I'm more tight or sore. So just to kind of go through every range of motion for every joint that you can, and do it with care and thought, and do that regularly.
And mindfully pay attention to your body as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, sounds like you like to help people a lot.
Totally. Sometimes too much, and people are like, leave me alone, I already know, or I don't care.
Sometimes it's good to take care of yourself first as well.
Yeah, that's what I've neglected, and I'm trying to over the last few years, I'm trying to change my habits, but after decades of being like a giver, I haven't done like a quick turnaround. It's just like tiny little lifestyle changes over time. But I'm noticing the difference, but I still need to really do a lot to get my own health, at an optimal place.
Yeah, exactly. That way you can help people more, right?
Yeah, I mean, just even without trying, just by being, the energy I think that I'll radiate. And I notice other people that have that. They don't even have to like tell me what to do. I just look at them. I'm like, yes, I want to feel that, So hopefully I'll get there before too much longer.
So last question, like, if you could put a word, a message, like on a billboard for like millions of people to see, what would it be? What would you put on it?
Maybe, that's so hard. To maybe search for health and balance within yourself, and have faith that the rest will be okay, I guess.
I like it.
Okay, thanks.
That's good. Well, that way, it just, find a balance. That way, you can do other things externally, right?
Yeah.
That way, other people, like whatever other people say, you might not impact or influence you. You might not care about what other people say, basically. Because if you have a balance inside yourself, then you're good.
Yes, exactly. And also, I feel like, when we see a bunch of drama and fighting and, you know, war in the world, it's hard to know what to do about that if you have that same stuff internally. So if you can kind of make peace with it internally, I don't know if you can, you know, get rid of it, but just find a balance and find ways to find peace within, then I think our outlook on that changes, and maybe our actions, and hopefully it'll just like radiate from there.
Yeah. I mean, going back to your mindful fitness again, right? It's about you, even though you try to find balance in your body, but through that, you are also practicing finding a balance within yourself as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it starts within, and then, and maybe that's inspired by, like, the further out you go, and you're like, oh my God, just the further out I look, it just, there's beauty, but it's also a lot of scary stuff going on. So it's like, if you can work on it within, then it works in, like, relationships that are intimate relationships, and then just expands from there.